She knew what she wanted. A home with windows that kissed the sun. A balance that never dipped below 5 figures. A life where freedom wasn't a weekend concept, but a daily experience. And yet every time she said the affirmation, every time she spoke it into existence, something slipped through her hands. Opportunities vanished. Money dried up. Silence, she thought, was failure. But what if the silence was the secret? Most people try to manifest like a millionaire by saying more. More affirmations. More declarations. More scripting. More visualizing. More acting as if. But in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to show you how saying less, going completely silent for just 3 days can activate a quantum shift in your field and open the space for wealth to find you. Because here's the truth. Words are not the first step to manifestation. Energy is. And your energy doesn't rise by talking about abundance before you've become it. It rises in the stillness when you finally stop forcing and start embodying. So, if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but your reality isn't changing, this video will change that. You've been taught to speak it into existence. Say the affirmation, declare the reality. Tell the universe what you want, and keep telling it, louder, more often, with more emotion. But what if I told you, the moment you speak it, you might actually be pushing it away? This is the paradox that almost no one talks about, especially in spiritual or manifestation spaces. When you speak from lack, your words become resistance. Let that settle. Because even if you're saying, I am wealthy, if your body still holds fear, if your nervous system still feels unsafe, if your subconscious still doesn't believe it, then what you're actually sending into the field is contradiction. You're not affirming wealth. You're affirming absence. And millionaires, they don't chase alignment. They move in silence until the energy is aligned. And then, when they speak, the world listens. Not because their words are magic, but because their vibration already made the decision. Why? Silence is magnetic. Silence isn't passive. It's not you doing nothing. It's you activating the field in a way most people are too afraid to do. Because silence brings you face to face with your unfiltered energy. Without noise, there's nothing left but the signal you're radiating. And this is where the real transformation begins. When you stop talking about what you want and stop explaining how you're going to get it, you begin the process of becoming the version of you that already has it. Not in theory, but in vibration. Most people interrupt this process too soon. They speak from insecurity. They try to convince themselves they believe. But millionaires, they don't convince. They command. And they only do it after the internal signal is locked in. That's what this 3-day silence practice is about. Locking in the internal signal before any words are spoken. Because once your energy has made the decision, the external world has no choice but to rearrange itself. The invisible timeline of wealth, there's a space, a sacred delay, between when your frequency shifts and when your reality catches up. And in that space, the most dangerous thing you can do is talk too soon. Think of your manifestation like a seed. In the early moments, the energy is fragile. It's still taking root. It's still defining itself through your nervous system, your inner conversations, your self-perception. If you go out and speak before it's rooted, you expose it to doubt, to misalignment, to the feedback of others who might not see your vision. And every time you speak before the energy is stabilized, you leak power. You weaken the field. That's why so many people feel like they're starting over again and again. They never give the inner seed a chance to fully ground. Silence is the millionaire's incubator. If you look at people who build massive empires, quietly, consistently, without drama, you'll notice something. They don't announce the dream. They become the dream in silence. And by the time they speak, their vibration already decided the outcome. The 3-day silence is not about isolating yourself or rejecting speech. It's about reclaiming the sacred space where your words are born. You see, words are spells. And when you rush to cast a spell before your energy is clear, you create results that match confusion. But when you wait, when you let the frequency lead, your words carry weight. And that's when manifestation becomes effortless. So why 3 days? Because in vibrational terms, 3 days is often the time it takes for your nervous system to stop reacting and start recalibrating. Day 1, your mind resists. Day 2, your body begins to surrender. Day 3, the field starts to reorganize. But for now, understand this. Speaking too soon is spiritual sabotage. Waiting in silence is the work of an energetic master. Are you tired of attracting the wrong people and ending up in frustrating relationships? The truth is, the love you receive reflects the energy you radiate. If you want to build deeper, healthier, and more abundant connections, you need to shift your energy. In my book, The Law of Attraction in Relationships, I'll show you how to transform your energy and attract the kind of love you truly deserve. Stop repeating the same mistakes. Start your transformation now. Click the link pinned in the first comment and dive in. At first, it feels like emptiness. You reach for your phone. You want to call someone. You think of affirmations you should be saying or visualizations you should be doing. But under all of that is a deeper current, something ancient, something powerful rising. This is the reset, and it only begins when you stop interrupting it with words. Silence isn't quiet. It's loud with energy. The first few hours of intentional silence are not peaceful. They're revealing. You hear the inner noise, the mental chatter, the nervous energy that usually hides behind conversation. But this is the gift, because now you're finally facing the parts of yourself that have been running the show all along. Most people avoid this part. They think their affirmations aren't working, so they look for better words. They change the script, the method, the technique. But the truth is, they've never allowed their nervous system to catch up with their desires. Manifestation is not just about mental focus. It's a full body alignment. And silence is the only space where you can actually feel, deeply and honestly, where your body stands in relationship to your dreams. The body always tells the truth. Your mouth can say, I am abundant. But if your breath is shallow, if your shoulders are tense, if your gut is tight with fear, then your true affirmation, the one the universe responds to, is lack. The vibrational reset begins by removing the ability to pretend. In silence, your body becomes the communicator. You'll start to notice patterns, the fear of being unseen, the discomfort of not explaining yourself, the urgency to do something to feel productive. But here's where the real shift happens. When you sit with that discomfort without speaking it away, you allow the energy to metabolize. You're no longer suppressing. You're no longer performing. You're becoming. Your energy field recalibrates in silence. Every thought you don't say out loud, every urge you observe without acting on it, becomes fuel for transformation. Why? Because now your life force energy has nowhere to leak. Imagine that every time you talk, you open a valve. Some of that energy flows out through explanation, justification, over clarification. But when you stay silent, you're containing that energy. You're holding your vibration inside your field, letting it cook, deepen, anchor. This is how your frequency changes. Not because you spoke louder, but because you finally stopped interrupting your evolution. Emotional waves will come. Let them. You may cry. You may feel bursts of anger, waves of sadness, even random joy. Let it all come. This is your nervous system releasing the backlog of suppressed emotion. Silence doesn't just help you manifest money. It helps you become energetically available for the money you've been asking for. You can't receive what your body still resists. And most people resist wealth not because they don't want it, but because deep down, they don't feel safe with it. In silence, the deeper fears rise. What if I get it and lose it? What will others think if I succeed? Do I even deserve this? And instead of affirming over those fears, this practice lets you be present with them until they lose their grip. The quantum power of a silent nervous system. When your body begins to calm, something astonishing happens. Your field starts broadcasting a new signal. It's not the mental repetition of I am wealthy. It's the felt knowing in your bones. That wealth is safe, natural, inevitable. You become less reactive, less needy, less urgent, and in that space, manifestations arrive faster. Not because you said more, but because your entire system stopped resisting. Day 2 and 3, where the real shift begins. The first day is the detox. The second day is the reset. The third day is the alignment. By day 3, your thoughts start to slow. Your breath deepens. Your internal state starts to match what your affirmations have been aiming for, without speaking a word. That's when your reality starts listening. And this is why millionaires often operate differently. They don't speak from a place of trying. They speak only once their energy is crystallized. And when they do, their words don't request. They claim. Are you tired of attracting the wrong people and ending up in frustrating relationships? The truth is, the love you receive reflects the energy you radiate. If you want to build deeper, healthier, and more abundant connections, you need to shift your energy. In my book, The Law of Attraction in Relationships, I'll show you how to transform your energy and attract the kind of love you truly deserve. Stop repeating the same mistakes. Start your transformation now. Click the link pinned in the first comment and dive in. By now, you understand the power of silence. But what if I told you that silence alone isn't enough? Yes, silence creates the space. But how you move through that silence, what you choose to observe, release, and embody during those 3 days, that's what turns stillness into a magnetic field of wealth. This is where the Millionaire mind reprogramming ritual begins. It's not about effort. It's about precision. Subtle, but powerful shifts that rewire your identity from the inside out, so that by the time you speak again, the vibration of wealth is already encoded into your being. Phase 1, Day 1. Disconnect from the old reality. Day 1 is a detox, but not just from speaking. It's a detox from everything that reinforces your current limitations. That means no social media, no podcasts, no texting, or no talking to people about your goals. You're not being rude. You're being ruthless with your alignment. Think of it like this: every word you speak, every post you read, every voice you hear is either anchoring you in the old self or calling you into the new one. On day 1, you cut off the noise completely. You're telling your subconscious, we're not doing things the old way anymore. And as you do this, the mind will panic. The ego will try to pull you back into activity, into doing. Let it. Observe it. Don't engage. Because this isn't just about staying quiet. It's about reclaiming your internal authority. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you're building energetic credibility. You're teaching your system, we trust the inner voice more than the outer noise. Phase 2, Day 2. Rewire through stillness. By now, your body is starting to calm. The initial resistance is weakening. This is where the deep reprogramming begins. And it happens in 3 layers. Breath. Use conscious breath to slow the nervous system. Try this. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Do it 10 times in the morning and 10 times at night. This brings the body into parasympathetic receiving mode. Embodiment. Walk slowly. Eat slowly. Move with intention. You are not rushing toward wealth. You are becoming the version of you who already has it. That version isn't frantic. She isn't chasing. He isn't doubting. They move with calm clarity. Stillness meditation. Sit for at least 20 minutes, twice a day. Eyes closed. No music. Just you, your breath, and the energy around you. Let the thoughts pass like clouds. You're not emptying the mind. You're observing the shift from noise to neutrality. These aren't just mindfulness techniques. They're reprogramming tools. Every time you sit in stillness, you're dissolving the mental structure that says, I need to do more to receive more. And that's the greatest block to millionaire consciousness. The belief that effort creates abundance. It doesn't. Alignment does. Phase 3, Day 3. Encode the new identity. Day 3 is the activation point. By now, your mind has quieted. Your body has softened. Your field is more receptive. Now it's time to encode the new identity. Not through words, but through being. Here's the ritual. Wake up and imagine yourself as already wealthy. But here's the twist. No visualizing houses or cars. Instead, feel what it would be like to wake up as someone who never questions if they're supported, who never doubts their ability to create, who knows their worth is non-negotiable. Move through your day as that version. Ask yourself, how would I breathe today? How would I sit? How would I respond to discomfort or boredom? Millionaires don't wait until they have money to feel wealthy. They feel wealthy first, and the reality adjusts to match. Close the day with energetic sealing. Sit in silence one last time, hands on your heart or solar plexus. Breathe deeply and say internally, this is who I am now. It is done. You're not asking. You're not affirming. You're embodying. This ritual isn't flashy. There's no scripting, no journaling, no hypnosis. Because the most powerful reprogramming happens in stillness with intention. What happens after the ritual? The days that follow will feel different. Some things will fall away. People may drift. Old beliefs may try to resurface. That's normal. You've changed the signal. Now the field is recalibrating. Stay with it. Don't rush to explain your silence. Don't rush to speak affirmations again. Let the silence finish its work. Because when you do speak again, the words will be backed by a frequency the universe can't ignore. Are you tired of attracting the wrong people and ending up in frustrating relationships? The truth is, the love you receive reflects the energy you radiate. If you want to build deeper, healthier, and more abundant connections, you need to shift your energy. In my book, The Law of Attraction in Relationships, I'll show you how to transform your energy and attract the kind of love you truly deserve. Stop repeating the same mistakes. Start your transformation now. Click the link pinned in the first comment and dive in. There's a moment, right after your silence ends, when the urge to speak returns like a wave. And in that moment, most people do exactly what breaks the energetic spell. They start explaining. They talk about what they've been doing, what they're going to manifest, who they're becoming. But here's the truth. Powerful people don't explain. They don't speak to be understood. They speak because their vibration already decided the outcome, and their words are just the echo. This is the difference between alignment and desperation, between commanding your reality and begging for it. The most dangerous sound, words without frequency, Have you ever said an affirmation and felt nothing? Or told someone about your goals and afterward felt drained? That's a sign your words were empty. They came from the mouth, but not the energy field. When you speak from misalignment, your words create resistance. Why? Because the vibration behind them is saying the opposite. You say, money flows to me easily, but your body says we're still not safe. You say, I trust the universe, but your actions scream, I don't believe it will show up unless I push. And this is the subtle sabotage that keeps people stuck. The world responds not to your words, but to the vibration your words carry. Millionaire energy is quiet. Until it's not, you'll notice this with people who hold true wealth consciousness. They're not loud. They're not rushing to prove, persuade, or declare. They're not afraid of silence, because they know that silence holds more power than words ever could until the words are ripe. And when they do speak, every word lands. Not because they said it right, but because the frequency was already fully aligned before the first syllable left their lips. This is what you're learning in your silence. Restraint, discipline, energetic precision. Because once you return to speaking, the field will amplify whatever you say, so you better mean it. Speaking from embodiment, not emotion. This is where most people slip. They break silence with emotion, high or low. They blurt out their excitement, or their doubts, or their plans. And in doing so, they scatter the vibration they spent 3 days building. But aligned speech isn't emotional. It's embodied. It doesn't fluctuate with moods. It doesn't depend on reactions. It comes from a deeper place, where the identity is already chosen. So before you speak again, ask yourself, does this statement feel settled in my body? Am I saying this to convince myself? Or because it's already true in my being? Am I expressing this from peace or from pressure? This kind of inner questioning is what separates those who manifest occasionally from those who do it consistently. How to test the weight of your words? Here's a simple tool, the vibrational echo test. Before speaking your desires aloud, say them internally. Then wait. Notice the echo that returns in your body. If you feel contraction, fear, or resistance, don't speak it yet. Go back into alignment. Breathe. Feel into the truth of the statement until it lands. But if you feel expansion, if your breath opens, if your chest feels light, and there's no urgency, then the field is ready, and your words will have weight. This is how millionaires communicate their next moves, not with force, but with frequency-backed authority. A word can be a wand, or a weapon when your energy is misaligned. Even beautiful affirmations can become weapons against yourself. Why? Because every time you say something you don't believe, your subconscious hears the lie, and it begins to distrust your voice. But when your words match your field, they become spells. They shape the quantum fabric of reality. They open doors that logic can't. This is why silence is so important. It resets the relationship between your voice and your vibration. So, when you do speak again, you're not just talking, you're casting. Speak less. Command more. There's a reason the most powerful people in the world speak in few words. They don't over-explain. They don't justify. They say what's necessary, and reality adjusts. That's the goal of this entire process, to help you become someone who doesn't ask for abundance, but who radiates it so clearly. The universe has no choice but to respond. Because true manifestation doesn't sound like begging. It sounds like truth. And truth doesn't need to shout. Let's be honest. Silence sounds beautiful until you're sitting in it. Then suddenly, it's not peaceful. It's loud. Your thoughts accelerate. Your emotions surge. You start to wonder, is this even working? Welcome to the space where most people quit. Not because they're weak, but because they were never taught what silence really brings up. Everything you've been running from. The silence doesn't create resistance. It reveals it. And this is your opportunity. Not to escape, but to evolve. The mind will panic. That's part of the process. When you enter the 3-day silence, your ego starts losing control. It can't predict. It can't plan. It can't distract you with conversations, tasks, or social media. So it freaks out. And it does what it always does when it feels unsafe. It replays old fears. It casts doubt on your path. It whispers, you're wasting time. But here's what you need to remember. This is not a sign that something's wrong. It's a sign that something is releasing. Every trigger, every doubt, every discomfort is energy leaving your system if you allow it to pass through without resisting it. So, when these moments come, and they will, don't fight them. Witness them. Say to yourself, this is just the old programming making noise on its way out. How to handle emotional storms. You might feel things you haven't felt in years. Old memories, buried shame, unexpected grief, sudden rage. Let it all come. This is not a mental practice. It's a somatic purification. Your body stores unprocessed emotion like a vault. And silence, especially paired with stillness, opens the door. But here's the gift. These feelings are surfacing because you're ready to release them. Not suppress. Not analyze. Not journal endlessly. Just feel and release. Try this when a wave comes. Name it without judgment. I feel anger. I feel tightness. I feel fear. Breathe into it. Slow, deep breaths. No fixing. Just presence. Ask, is this emotion trying to protect me? Often, your resistance isn't against wealth. It's against what you think wealth might bring. Rejection.judgment.pressure. And as you hold that space without reacting, something powerful happens. The emotion completes its cycle, and your field becomes clearer. Doubt is the doorway, not the obstacle. Most people see doubt as failure. But in vibrational reality, doubt is often the last test before alignment locks in. Doubt only rises when you're close to a shift, when the ego senses you're about to step beyond its control. That's why it throws everything at you. You're wasting time being silent. This isn't spiritual, it's lazy. Real millionaires take action, not naps. Ignore the noise. Because real transformation isn't loud. It's quiet, subtle, inner. And if you can walk through doubt without abandoning your new vibration, you prove to the universe that your alignment is no longer conditional. That's when things begin to move. Resistance from others. How to protect your energy during this silence. You may still be in contact with people, co-workers, family, partners. And not everyone will understand what you're doing. They might get uncomfortable. They might try to pull you back into old dynamics. They might even accuse you of being distant, aloof, or off. Here's the truth. When you change your vibration, you disrupt old agreements. People are used to a version of you that responds, entertains, explains. And when that stops, they'll react. Don't take it personally. Silence will often reveal which relationships were built on authenticity and which were built on your availability to overgive. Use simple boundaries. I'm in a quiet reset for a few days. I'm resting and reconnecting with myself. I'll reach out after the weekend. You don't owe long explanations. You owe yourself alignment. A simple mantra for the hardest moments when the resistance feels overwhelming. When the urge to speak, to fix, to do something screams inside you. Return to this. It is safe to be silent. I trust the vibration is working. Repeat it slowly. Feel it. Say it in your mind like a rhythm, a lullaby, a grounding force. Because here's the truth. Most of your life has been shaped by unconscious reaction. But now, for the first time, you're choosing conscious response. And even if it feels uncomfortable, it's also making you magnetic. The silence ends. You've moved through the stillness, faced the discomfort, held space for doubt, fear, and buried emotion. You've reconnected with the deepest parts of yourself, not through talking, but through presence. Now the question becomes, what do you say first? And more importantly, how do you say it? Because your first words after silence are more than sentences. They're instructions to the universe. They declare, this is who I am now. And if you want your field to continue reflecting that new identity, you must speak from command, not commentary. The 90-second rule: pause before speaking when the silence ends. Don't rush. Give yourself 90 seconds of intentional space before saying anything. Why? Because in that small window, you give your nervous system time to choose alignment over habit. This is your sacred pause. Feel your body. Breathe deeply. Remember what you've become. And then, only when you feel settled and sovereign, you speak. This breaks the old pattern of reactivity and returns you to the truth of conscious creation. Your first words matter. You don't need to make a grand declaration, but you do need to make a clear one. Here are a few powerful openings. It is done. I am aligned with my highest timeline. Only what matches my new frequency can remain from this moment forward. I only speak what I want to experience. These aren't affirmations in the traditional sense. They're energetic anchors. They seal the shift you've made internally and send a vibrational signal that the old version of you is no longer in command. What and who not to speak to right away. Be mindful of this. Your energy is still integrating. That means it's vulnerable, not in a weak way, but in a sensitive way. Avoid going back into the environments that drain you. Talking to people who constantly question your dreams, explaining what you just did to people who won't understand. This is not about hiding. It's about honoring the upgrade. Think of your silence like spiritual surgery. You wouldn't run a marathon right after anesthesia. In the same way, don't rush into over-explaining yourself or trying to prove your shift. Let your energy speak first. Speaking with intention, a daily practice now that you've cleared the field. It's time to rebuild your relationship with words. Here's a practice to begin each day with: morning alignment. Before you check your phone, before you talk to anyone, place your hand on your heart and say, "Today I speak from clarity, not conditioning. I speak from power, not performance." Speak less, say more throughout your day. Ask yourself, does this need to be said? Does this match my frequency? Am I speaking to create or to be liked? Evening review before bed. Reflect on one moment where your words match your vibration. Celebrate that. And if you slipped, no judgment, just awareness. This practice rewires your voice into a tool of manifestation, not manipulation. The three-tiered voice of a manifester from now on. Treat your voice as sacred technology. Tier 1. Thought. Not every thought deserves to be spoken. Let them pass. Let them settle. Speak only what supports your field. Tier 2. Feeling. Only speak feelings that are true and integrated. Not reactions, but real, embodied awareness. Tier 3. Command. This is where you speak what you're calling in, not as a wish, but as a reality. Speak as if it's done, because vibrationally, it is. What happens when you speak from alignment? You'll notice a shift. People respond to you differently. Opportunities start showing up without you having to chase them. You speak less, but your words carry more weight. You'll also notice that you don't need to be loud anymore. Your energy enters the room before you do. And when you do speak, there's silence around your voice. Not because people are confused, but because they feel that you've become the message. This is what it means to command reality. You don't beg. You don't over-explain. You speak what is, and the world bends accordingly. Because the world doesn't change when you talk about it. It changes when your energy speaks louder than your fear ever could. You've walked through something most people will never dare to touch. Not a challenge of willpower, but of surrender. Not a test of discipline, but of energetic precision. You chose silence, and in that silence, you remembered something ancient and sacred. Your words are not your power. Your alignment is. The 3 days weren't about avoiding sound. They were about meeting yourself, without performance, without approval, without explanation. And now, something has changed. You no longer feel the need to speak to be seen. You no longer reach for affirmation to prove you're becoming. You no longer confuse urgency with momentum. You've become still, and in that stillness, you've become magnetic. The true power you now hold. Most people never realize this. Every word they speak is either confirming the old self or creating the new one. And every moment of silence is a doorway, not to absence, but to authority. Silence isn't the opposite of manifestation. It's the foundation. It strips away the noise. It cleanses the static. It tunes your field so precisely that when you finally do speak, your words arrive like thunder wrapped in gold. That's the kind of energy that moves reality. Not because you're forcing it, but because you've become someone the universe must respond to. Where do you go from here? Now you know the path, but the practice is ongoing. You don't need to stay silent forever, but you do need to remember what that silence gave you. Clarity over chaos, embodiment over effort, command over commentary, and any time you feel yourself slipping back into the urge to perform, to explain, to prove, pause. Return. Come back to the field of stillness inside you. Even 5 minutes of silence can reset the frequency. Even one breath can bring you home. What if you lived from this place? Imagine creating from this space every day, making decisions not from fear, but from felt alignment, attracting wealth not through hustle, but through energetic integrity, speaking less and receiving more. This isn't just a spiritual idea, it's a strategy, a new way of being in the world, rooted, refined, radiant. And it starts every time you choose stillness over struggle, presence over performance, truth over noise. So let this be your new baseline. Speak only what you're ready to receive. Act only from a place of subtle clarity. Rest not as an escape, but as a recalibration of your power. A bridge to what's next. You've learned the power of silence. But in our next video, we're going to unlock something just as sacred, the art of receiving. How to open your energy field so wide, wealth has no choice but to pour in. Because the truth is, you've done enough. You've spoken enough. Now, it's time to receive without guilt, without delay, without limits, so stay with me. This journey has only just begun.